rank them as I go along. Go for it.
Well, welcome to the Black Spinner Circle Music Vidcast with me, Al Horta, Andy Rodriguez, my esteemed co-host. What's up, brother?
Nothing much. Just hanging out. I am off. I've got the next 4 days off. I don't go back to work till Monday, so I am excited. I'm ready to go tonight. I'm so excited to do this.
Oh, dude, you're all fired up, man.
Oh, yeah, dude, I am. If I had to work tomorrow, I would have canceled. No,
oh man, from Route Salad Review, we got Manny Mejias.
Hey,
what's up, brother?
How you doing?
With the awesome King's X shirt on. How you doing, brother?
Good. And I don't know if any of you bought it, but I bought Led Zeppelin EP Live. If you like live albums, it's excellent, and it's not much of an EP. It's 30 minutes long. I bought it on CD and vinyl, and it's really, really good. Those songs, by the way, were on the DVD. Remember, Led Zeppelin put their performances on there.
The one with the mountain on the cover of it.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I ordered mine from Warner Music Direct, and delivery's slowed up, so I ordered the CD and the record too.
Well, you're gonna really, really like it. I wish Jimmy. I mean, it's already a better live album. The song remains the same. Well, you'll hear for yourself. If you got the DVD, you've already heard it anyway.
Most of those are. I mean, for years, that's all we had was "Song Remains the Same," and it's not Led Zeppelin at their best. I'd sooner listen to the 2007 reunion.
I agree with you.
Way more.
I have bootlegs that are incredible.
Dude, I have so many Zeppelin bootlegs. It's insane.
Yeah. Dude, I think them and Jimi Hendrix and the Doors, I think if they sneezed on magnetic tape, somebody puts it out there.
All right. And from Tim's Vinyl Confessions, we got Tim Derling. Oh, what's up, brother? Author of many great books, Night Ranger, Y&T, book on 8-tracks, Kansas. Sammy Hagar. What's up, brother?
I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you asked me to do this. This was not easy to do because this is one of my favorite bands, and I just don't think they have a lot of bad songs. So I just started writing song titles down, and I guess that'll work. but it made me use my brain a little bit, so that's a good thing.
So what we are doing is, since it's the 50th anniversary of 2 Rush albums this year, yes, bands used to put out 2 albums a year sometimes in the 60s and 70s. In the 80s, it kind of lost that kind of art got kind of lost, you know. I guess with the advent of MTV and kind of pumping out more singles and everything, they can extend an album's life kind of a lot longer. But, you know, back in the day when it was all about just touring and putting albums out, every 6 months a band could put an album out. You know what I mean? So, and Rush put out Fly By Night and Caress of Steel.
Yeah.
Both in 1975, two great albums that showed a lot of growth that, you know, Rush was starting to, you know, show, you know, from their first album, which was just straight up kind of heavy blues, kind of bluesy Zeppelin-esque, you know, heavy rock. And then, you know, because they wrote those songs years leading up to that first album when they were a bar band and, you know, playing local around Toronto and Canada, and you got all your life to write your first album, and then you start, you know. I think by the time they released that first album, the progression had already started with them. They were already getting into more progressive music and things like that. So, I mean, Fly By Night, the first album with Neil Peart in early '75. I think it came out in February '75 sometime, right, Tim?
February 15th, I think.
There you go.
The generally accepted date.
The first album featuring Neil, and I mean, it showed a huge, you know, growth already. You know, a leap from the first album to the second. He brought in more. He became, although I think Getty and Alex, I think, wrote a couple of lyrics still on Fly By Night and Caress of Steel. The transition had already started where Neil really kind of took over the whole bulk of writing the lyrics, and of course, his drumming style would propel the band a lot more forward into kind of art and progressive rock and, you know, things like that. So, but still maintaining that hard rock, though. I think, to me, they were like the first real hard rock band to combine prog and heavy rock. I mean,
Yeah.
Sabbath kind of did it before that with Sabbath, Late Sabbath, and Sabotage. I think those albums are pretty progressive too for their time. But Rush really kind of started really melding the two together, man, going forward. Yes was never that heavy. Genesis was never that heavy. You know what I mean? Although there are heavy moments in those bands, Rush was pretty damn heavy, So anyway, so what we're doing is, since it's the 50th anniversary of both those albums, we're combining all the tracks into like a pot, and then we're all going to rank from our least favorite track to our favorite track of both those albums. We're just throwing them all together and seeing what's going to come out on top. I think our top like 3 or 4 is, I think a lot of them are going to probably be similar. I have a feeling.
I got a feeling.
Our top 3 or 4, but it was pretty hard, man, because I don't really dislike any. I mean, I'm a Rush nut swinger anyway, so I don't really dislike any tracks on these 2 albums. I love both albums to death. And anyway, are we gonna do What's Spinning, Andy?
Yeah. I could do What's Spinning just to see what we've been listening to.
Yeah, Manny, why don't you go tell us what you've been like listening to lately or whatever,
All right. Well, I mentioned Led Zeppelin, so I got that. I don't know why I bought this, but Motley Crue from the beginning, the greatest hits. I need another greatest hits album like a hole in the head, but I bought it anyway. And I also bought a Jethro Tull greatest hits, even though I got like 90 of them, because it was $1, and I like Jethro Tull. I listen to a lot of stuff. I even listened to Liza Minnelli this morning, so I'm all over the place. And because of the flood in Florida, I've been replacing albums. So lately, I've been listening to a lot of Iron Maiden because I've replaced a lot of those and a lot of my Metallica. Nothing too exciting, except that Liza Minnelli, which is really rules, with the Pet Shop Boys called Results. And only a real man would admit that to listen to Liza Minnelli and Metallica. What about you?
Yes, sentence. What about you, Tim? What have you been listening to lately?
Well, today I've been listening to a lot of Rush, but that's not uncommon. But I started out with the 2 albums that we're going to be talking about, but then I kind of branched. I listened to Power Windows. I listened to the Chronicles collection. Yes, what else did I? Snakes and Arrows, I think. Yeah, so just kind of getting ready, and it doesn't take much for me to get into a Rush mode and start listening to them all the time. But I really wanted to make sure that I, when I think of a song, it's like, yeah, okay, it's this one with this riff in it, and not that was a problem. I just wanted to refresh. So, yeah, basically a lot of Rush in preparation. I call it to home. It's the best kind of homework.
Yeah, it is, right. Yeah. For me, I was at work today streaming both albums back to back a couple of times, just so I can get the right feel. But I'm starting to get into Queen. Now, since we were talking about them earlier, and this past weekend, I went a little thrift shopping. I'm trying to copy my buddy Al over there lately. I picked up Queen, Made in Heaven.
Wow.
On CD. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm excited to hear it. And tomorrow on the BS sessions with Mark and Jerry, we're going to be going over our favorite albums of our favorite artists of the 2000s, which I had a lot of fun doing that. I really did. So I've been spending a lot of Weezer this past week. Here's Make Believe. That was the middle of 2000s. And also the Strokes on First Impressions from Earth. I've been listening to those the past couple of days. What about you, Al? Anything new or spinning with you?
Man, I got a bunch of shit. Thrift shopping. I found this Bryan Adams album, Cuts Like a Knife.
Yeah.
Perfect condition. Perfect condition for like, $2. So
that's a good album. I like that album.
I do too, but I used to hate Bryan Adams. Now I like him. I don't know why.
I've been listening to his new one too. Actually, I just finished reviewing it. It's pretty good.
Roll with the Punches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kiss fans will also know that Eric Carco writes a song on that Cuts Like a Knife album.
What song?
Don't Leave Me Lonely.
That's
Oh, wow.
the Eric Carr from Kiss.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. So that's Adams, Valance, and Carr. And as a matter of fact, there's an instrumental version of that on the 40th reissue of Creatures of the Night.
Oh wow,
Oh
interesting.
wow.
Yeah.
And in the mail, I got from Ralph Vieira, I got Thrash or Die, Poser Holocaust. I got Combat, and he signed it for me too. To Al, keep kicking ass and stay away from Belcher. He's, as we all know, he's not a big Sammy Hagar lover. So he put that on there. This is kind. I mean, he sent me 2 other CDs. Serialistic Fatality must be a thrash band that he knows, and Atomic. So thank you, Ralph, for sending this stuff, man. And then I got a bunch of albums in the mail. I go on some album auctions
I was
sometimes.
going to say, I recognize that top one.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just stack them all out here.
Up here in Canada, our postal service is on strike right now, so I'm waiting on a bunch of stuff to pain in the ass.
Yeah. Of course, I got Jailbreak.
Hell yeah, that Robert.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice, beautiful mint copy of it. I never had it on vinyl, so I had to get that. I got this Black Sabbath compilation.
Oh, that's that greatest hits one. I got that one on cassette. That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
dude,
the
I
guy,
used to see those all the time. You know, in the '80s.
the guy that I Edward Rochester, the guy I go on his auctions a lot and I buy from him. He threw that in free for me, which was cool of him. So
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah.
That's
That
the
is-
same. That's the same painting that there's part of that they used for the third Deep Purple album too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
the
really?
subtitle.
Garden of Earthly Delights, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I never
There's some weird imagery on that cover.
Venom, Canadian Assault.
Oh, I still have that. And my,
Is it-
girlfriend at the time, you can still see it. She put on there sick, not sick like good, like kids say, meaning like, you satanic bastard. Anyway, what's that?
Celtic Frost, Tragic Serenades. This is actually still sealed. It's an EP. It's got like 3 songs on it. What else here? I got this on Juice Priest Point of Entry.
Oh,
I always
that's
wanted-
the European cover?
Yeah, I always wanted the alternate cover to it.
Not the one with the computer paper.
Right.
Not the one with the computer paper. No.
Yeah, I wonder who came up with that idea. Cocaine's a
Loudness.
hell of a drug. I just bought that on vinyl, dude, again.
Thunder in the East.
Yeah, I just got that yesterday.
And he threw in a bunch of Cheech and Chong albums. The Wedding album.
The wedding album was good.
This one is
That one.
Let's Make a New Dope Deal. Los Cochinos.
I like that one, dude. If you look at the liner notes of that of Los Cochinos, George Harrison plays on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just Cheech and Chong here, and then Sleeping Beauty. So
Okay.
yeah, I wanted to because I love Cheech and Chong, and he was just it was like a fire sale. It was like a couple bucks each album, so I was like,
That's
throw them
cool.
all in there, man. So that's what I got in the mail, and
Cool.
And,
Carole King is on that album too.
what's that?
And Carole King is also on that Cheech and Chong album.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they were rock stars in their day, man. I mean, my friend Steve has the album that Chong played on. He was in a band called the Vancouvers,
Right.
and he has an album. He has a vinyl. When we met Chong, he actually bought that with him, and he had Chong sign it. Tommy sign it, and Tommy was even like, "Whoa, where'd you get this?" Because
Yeah.
it's a rare, it's hard to find. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. So,
Because he's from the Vancouver area, right? I know he's from Canada, isn't he?
Is he Canadian?
He is. Yeah. Chong is. I can't remember exactly, but it could be Vancouver.
But he is Canadian, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
and we all know Cheech is from East LA.
We all know. Yeah,
I was. Where were you born? I remember seeing that video. Yeah,
Oh, man.
I'm actually 3 days. I'm pretty excited. I'm 3 days away from a record expo, and I always love going to those. And that'll be documented. But yeah, just bide my time waiting for that.
You know,
Yeah,
Al,
cool.
there's the record convention Saturday. I thought about going, but I really don't have money, so I don't know. But It's Saturday.
If you decide to go, get in touch with me. So
I love going to record conventions.
Yeah.
I do
absolutely love
too, but my wallet hates it. I should have married rich. This is ridiculous.
it's time. It's times like this when I'm glad I don't have a mortgage payment.
What?
Well, I have like 90 kids, so there you go. Anyway,
Yeah, that's a mortgage payment right there.
yeah.
That's a couple of mortgage payments.
I always put money aside. Each week from my paycheck, I put some away and some away. And then when I go, my wife's like, "Where'd you get all that money from? Don't worry about it. It's all right." I save it. So
I need to start doing that, but that would take discipline, and I lack discipline at my advanced age. It's sad.
This always seems to be something come up, whether it's stupid bills or whatever, right?
Yeah, adulting is a bunch of crap. That's all I got.
Do not recommend. It's not.
No, it's a ripoff, kids.
Yeah,
it's a ripoff.
All right, man. So let's get to the topic at hand here. We're gonna rank all the tracks on Fly By Night and Caress of Steel. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go Manny, Tim, Andy, myself. And when Luke gets in here, hopefully soon he'll catch up with us. But I want to do 3 tracks at a time, so it doesn't take like 5 hours to do this.
Okay. So we're picking the worst tracks first, not the worst, but the ones.
So before we get into it, I mean, combining all the tracks, it's 13 tracks because we all know, Fountain of Lamnet is one track, so it's supposed to be one track. So just like 2112, the following year, it's counted as one track. So, and they have a couple epics on these albums. So, but when you count up all the tracks, it's 13 total. So we'll go 3 at a time. So 13, 12, and 11. We'll start with you, Manny. Take it away, my friend.
All right. Well, my least favorite, believe it or not, I love Caress of Steel. It's actually the second Rush album I ever bought. And the reason it was the second, not because I knew anything about it, but it was $2 used. So I bought it, And I did not know I wasn't supposed to like that album, until the internet. So screw the internet. It's a great album. All right, so let me start. Making Memories, I really didn't remember it till I gave it a fresh spin. So that would be at the bottom. Is that how you want to do it, Al? At the bottom? What?
Yeah, we're going 13 to 1.
Yeah.
So from your least favorite to your favorite.
So Making Memories and Rivendell.
Rivendell.
Again, two songs I didn't remember. By the way, this is weird, but Fly By Now was the last Rush album I actually picked up when they were new. I'm still, because I bought them starting 1983. So Grace Under Pressure was the new album, and that one I did not get till very last. Matter of fact, my favorite version of these songs are on the live version of Exit Stage. Wait,
All the World Stage. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so Rivendell, and I know this is going to surprise you, but Fly By Night is not one of my favorite songs. It's when Neil Peart came into the band, suddenly the band transformed, because in my opinion, if John Rusty had stayed, who was a good drummer, by the way, people put him down, but he was a good drummer. I don't think they would have been able to write the kind of songs they started writing. Fly By Night seems almost like a leftover track. I know it's not, but more like what they were doing on the first album. For Rush, it's pretty basic. It's not a bad song, but not one of my favorites. So, and by the way, I guess Neil Peart did write those lyrics, but those are my 3. Doesn't mean they're bad songs, but I don't think they're as memorable.
Well, you gotta rank them, man, somehow.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so I gotta rank these 3 songs.
No. You have them ranked, right?
Yeah, you just did.
You're done.
Yeah, I just ranked them. That's it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying in general. I mean, even though we might not hate any of these songs, I love all of them, actually. I think they're all great. They got to be some on the bottom. They got to go up, so.
Well, I think, it's funny because Caress of Steel gets a bunch of grief, but I think it's a great album.
I love that album, man.
And I think it's the beginning of the combination of prog rock and heavy metal of its day. Something, yes, Genesis, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Was Kansas considered a prog band?
I would say so. Yeah, they kind of stood out because they were American, but
yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
well, I
think so
mean,
too.
they were a little. They had some heavy tracks, like you pointed out, but none of those guys combined both, and none of those guys had a heavy metal hard rock audience that was just beginning to emerge.
Right.
Anyway, those are my three. And to quote Pete Townsend, who's next?
Tim.
This is really cool because I love it when people talk about when they got into Rush. I get into Rush like 87, 88. So I bought a bunch of the albums, not really knowing much about which ones were the popular ones or or like Maddie said, which ones are the quote unquote ones to like, ones to not like. I just kept buying them until I didn't see them anymore. So it might be a cliche, but I'm going to start off with I Think I'm Going Bald, which is a good song. But mathematically, they have to slot in somewhere. You can't
Yeah.
have a 13-way tie for number one. And it takes away from the greatness of the songs that you really, really like. I Think I'm Going Bald is a perfectly good heavy rock song. It sounds a lot like they kind of took the riff from In the Mood from the first album and made it a little more complicated. The lyrics are actually quite intelligent when you get past the fact that it does kind of it almost sounds like a parody, but it does talk, there is some serious content in there about aging and the even when I'm gray I'll still be gray my way. And that's kind of how Rush did their career. They always did things their way. Of course, there's two stories about that song. One is because they toured with Kiss so much, it was in response to going blind. So they decided to write a song called I Think I'm Going Bald. But it was also supposedly written about Kim Mitchell, who up here in Canada is a rock star. And nobody needs to be told who Kim Mitchell is, but he was also the front man of the band Max Webster, who also
Who I
toured with
love.
Rush a lot. And Kim Mitchell had a receding hairline from the get. He had long hair, but his hair was running away from his
Yeah,
face.
even at a young age.
From a young age. Yeah,
yeah.
he was what's the Aerosmith, bald as an egg at 18.
I think he was the first one. I think he was the first one to rock what is
a skullet.
The skullet, yeah.
Yeah. And that's why later on in the 80s, usually you didn't see him without a cap on. Anyway, so I Think I'm Going Bald is my least preferred, but I still like it. My next one is Making Memories, which I think is a cool song. It's acoustic bass, and it's also one of the few songs that that Alex plays slide during the solo. He doesn't play a lot of slide guitar. He actually used a lipstick container for the slide. Is my understanding. But I think it's a good song. It's so interesting because Fly By Night and Caress of Steel are both so transitional, because Fly By Night is the first one with Neil, but Caress of Steel is the first one that Hugh Syme did the artwork for, and he would work with them forevermore. So it's a real transitional period between those first three albums. And my next one is Best I Can, which is a great song, great rocking song. That dates back to their club days. There are versions of the band with Rutsy playing that song. It's a Geddy and Alex song, perfectly good. I mean, Neil, as soon as you hear the drums come in, it's Neil because it's much busier. But man, he's right. John Rutsy was a perfectly good heavy rock drummer for the day. But Neil, that was those three were the magic combination. So Think I'm Going Bald, Making Memories, Best I Can.
All right, Andy.
Yeah, the 1970s is my favorite Rush era. And these two albums rank about pretty high for me, especially Caress of Steel. I'm a big Caress of Steel fan. As I go through these, you'll see, they will start to unravel how much I love Caress of Steel. But number 11, I'm going to start off with Rivendell. I'm not a big fan of a Rivendell. I know it's supposed to be this. Well, I wouldn't even call it an epic, but it just loses me so much of that song. And Best I Can is my number 10. Oh, well, not number 10, but the next one. And then In the End are my three. So my three are Rivendell, Best I Can, and In the End. I know they're all from Fly By Night.
Same here, and this is rough. And I think my thing about Fly By Night, because I didn't hear it till way later. I mean, not that much later, but when you're a kid,
makes a difference.
Yeah. And the first time I heard some of these songs were on All the World's a Stage, like by Torn the Snow Dog. So when I heard the studio version, I was disappointed. It's the same thing with Judas Priest, Unleashed in the East. When I heard the songs that they did from Stained Glass or whatever, I liked them, but I was disappointed. Same thing with Kiss,
Yeah.
Alive. You know, so I have an inborn maybe prejudice toward those. I don't know if they're superior or not, but that's what I was used to hearing as a kid, and I was really young and
The
impressionable.
order you hear the things in as a kid shapes your impressions. It really does make a difference.
Yeah, it's anyway. I
Ow.
Al L.A. legendary Al.
I get mistakes for AI now because it looks every time somebody puts, "Oh, this is AI," I think they're saying this is Al because I think the I is an L. You know, whatever. This is
I've
the AI,
started to.
this is the AI version of me. I'm on vacation right now, so I just plugged the two albums into AI, and this is AI talking. No, anyway, my number 13, I'm going with Rivendell as well. I actually do like the song because I like the Tolkien references. It's very Tolkien, obviously the lyrics. It's almost like Zeppelin's Ramble On, you know what I mean? Kind of referencing the same things, you know what I mean? So, very mellow song, though. I mean, it's very mellow, you know. It's kind of cool. Like when I used to put that song laying in bed just to kind of drift into sleep. It's like kind of the perfect song to kind of melt away to. Number 12, Making Memories. Great acoustic jam. Yeah, like Tim said, yeah, I think it might be the only song that has Alex's slide on it. I don't think he did for any other song that I can recall off the top of my head. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember any other song having the slide guitar.
Not off top. No, I can't. Nothing comes to my mind. I mean, later on, he tried so many different things on the recent albums, but
yeah, but I don't ever remember him doing slide ever again.
No.
You know, any sort of slide guitar. But it's kind of cool. It's acoustic based, but then you know he does an electric solo slide. You know, kind of comes in, you know, with this electric slide solo, and he did it well. So I don't know why he never. I guess he kind of thought Rush's music didn't really call for it, like going forward. So. But anyway, number 12, Making Memories. And then my number 11, I think I'm going Bald. To me, that's always been like kind of sounds like a leftover from the first album sessions. Like, you know, again, yeah, it has that in the mood a riff, like kind of recycled. But it would have fit right onto the. I think like if they would have taken, I think I'm going Bald, put down the first album and took Before and After off the first album and put it on Fly By Night. I think that would have been. Because to me, Before and After on the first album kind of hints at where it kind of they're going a little bit. It's kind of like has that kind of a slow build up, like the kind of a mellow beginning, kind of then it just gradually builds up. So I love that song off the first album, Before and After. So
Yeah.
But I think I'm going Bald. It's gonna be my number 11. So we got Rivendell, Making Memories. I think I'm going Bald. Manny, your next three.
Okay. God, this is difficult. Man, why'd you do this to me? Anyway, let's see what I'm going to.
Isn't today the first day of like Yom Kippur as well?
I think so. Yeah. I think I'm going. I think I'm going Bald. I'm going to choose that. I like that song, and but I'm going to choose that song. But that being said, doesn't mean it sucks. It's actually a good musically. It's not that ambitious, but lyrically. You know, when you look at the title, you think it's going to be kind of like a novelty, kind of silly song. But when you really look at it and realize that Neil Peart is a great lyricist, here he is. He's like 20 something years old. And he's writing about his immortality, his, you know, being not your typical rock star stuff, also interesting as a lyricist. I mean, he's got, like you pointed out, the tokenist type song on the album. But as a lyricist, he doesn't focus on a lot of fantasy. Even when we get to later albums like 2112, there's a lot of realism in that stuff.
Yeah.
And again, I've said this to Al a million times. People may say, but I put him up there with a Dylan, a Springsteen, a Jim Morrison as a lyricist. I'm not kidding. I think he's that good as a lyricist, you know. All right, let me move on. In the end, again, this is difficult. I really dislike you now for making me do this. But in the end, it's a great, great song, but I've got to rank it somewhere. And I'm going to choose the Necromancer. I like that song. I like the ambition of the song. I like the musicality of the song, but I think parts of it are a little clunky and not totally finished. My understanding is that during the making of that album, they basically gave him like $10 and told him to record it. But that's my three. Was that three? Yeah.
Yep.
So,
What was it again?
it was. I think I'm going bald. And what was the other one? In the End and Necromancer.
Lou, welcome.
Welcome,
Hey,
Lou.
Lou.
The legendary Lou.
Is he frozen? I think
I
he is.
Of course
Are you
he's
there? Oh, there
He's
he is.
overwhelmed by the power.
Hey
of-
guys, good evening.
Hey,
How are you, man? Nice for you
Good
to
evening.
join us.
hey.
Yes, thank you for having me. Sorry for the delay. Parental duties and technical difficulties aside, I'm very happy to be here. And I'm not rocking a Rush shirt, but I'm rocking a Shockwire shirt. That's my buddy John Whitten from Peterborough, Ontario, Canada, and that's his band. So just representing Ontario
That's
by way of New York.
Fantastic.
Lou, I don't know if you ever met Tim Derling. This is Lou Mavs. Tim.
Hi, Lou. Nice to meet you.
Same here.
Lou is also from Rat Salad Review. That he kind of forego
Reluctantly.
that. I'm glad he came and joined us tonight. I'm really happy to have you on. So we started our list already. I don't know if you know what we're doing or not, but we're ranking.
We're discussing the 50th anniversary of both Caress of Steel and Fly By Night.
Yeah, but we're
So-
ranking the songs on the albums, both albums.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we combine both albums and we're ranking our least favorite track to our favorite track. I don't know if you did that or not, but
Oh, I know both albums like the back of my hand, so that's not already
Okay.
that's not a problem for me.
so there's 13 songs total. So we started already at 13. We're already up to like number 8. So I mean, I don't know if you want to start out if you have a list there or not.
Yeah. So
We're going we're going 3 at a time. So actually, you know what? So let's hold off on you for a second, Tim. Let's
Sure.
do your next 3, and then we'll go
Okay.
to Lou.
Okay.
We'll give Lou a minute or two to kind of orient himself here.
So my next one might be a surprise to people as well. I guess all of these could be conceivably, but it's Fly By Night. And again, all good songs. It's interesting because, like I said, when I first started getting into Rush, that was never a band I heard on the radio. I mean, I grew up in Canada, so thank God we had much music. I was exposed to that stuff. But mostly, with the exception of the Closer to the Heart video, it was all moving pictures and beyond. So I really wasn't familiar with the early stuff. So I didn't know until many years later that Fly By Night was such a popular song from their early catalog and got so much radio play. My good friend Matt Phillips, who's helped design all of my books, because that's what he does, but he used to live in Brockville, Ontario, and he was not a Rush fan. Took him years to get into Rush. I finally, convinced him. Actually, it just was years and years, and he finally decided he liked them. But he said, if I hear Fly By Night on the radio one more time, and that I was like, what? Like Fly By Night on the radio of all? I had no idea. I guess it was a pretty popular song back then, and it was kind of one of their early radio staples. Did not know. I like it, but like we said, they got to go in somewhere.
Well, that just goes to show like how much different probably radio in Canada was from the U.S. Because really, that song didn't get really played down here. So,
well, I'd say classic rock radio in general. Like there was no classic rock radio where I lived until the end of the '90s, so I really didn't know what songs were quote unquote popular.
Yeah.
Well, Al, here in Tampa, we had 2 rock stations. One still exists, as you know, 98 Rock, and the other one was 95 YNF. This is before classic rock became classic rock, a term I don't really care for. But Fly By Night was definitely a radio staple in the 80s and 90s.
It was definitely more accessible than a lot of the stuff from either of those albums, but so I get it, and it's a good song. my next one is the Necromancer. I got a funny story, but when I first heard Caress of Steel, but I'm going to wait. But the Necromancer is a really ambitious. It's one of two epics that's on Caress of Steel. Like it's such a dark album, which is one of the things I like about it.
Yeah.
When I was in when I took radio broadcasting after I graduated high school, I stumbled upon voice. It wasn't software. It was something you had to manually do, but I could make my voice sound like the as gray traces of dawn. I could make my voice sound a lot like I think it's Neil that does that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
I thought that was Terry Brown, actually.
Oh, maybe it's Terry Brown. I know Terry
I
Brown
think that
does.
was Neil.
I know Terry Brown did the Cygnus X1 intro, but
yeah, I think I think that was Neil on Necromancer.
It's very deep, and he's got a deep voice. But anyway, the Necromancer is also quite Tolkien-esque when you think about it, because they talk about this necromancer. Well, there's a necromancer is Sauron in the Hobbit movie, and he's got the evil eye that sees all. There's three travelers. You could say, well, that's Sam and Frodo and Gollum. So I think it was Tolkien influenced, just not as explicit as Rivendell, which is my next song. And now I always liked Rivendell long before I had any idea what it meant. I knew nothing about Lord of the Rings until many, many years later. Now I'm a pretty big Tolkien fan, but I like the fact that it had the variety, because one of the things that struck me about listening to Fly By Night and Caress of Steel was at the time I bought those, they were especially Caress of Steel, probably the heaviest album I owned. Like it was really, really heavy stuff. And I like the fact that they had that variety. It's beautiful acoustic guitar playing from Alex. And I think he said, it's a nice little melody. It goes on about 5 minutes too long. But Geddy, Geddy gets such a bad reputation for his singing, but he showed an awful lot of restraint on that song, because this is when he was in his prime. I can hit any note imaginable at full scream, right?
Yeah.
But he sings that very, very delicately. I like it. And once I started getting into Lord of the Rings, the lyrics meant a lot more to me. The Misty Mountains and place you can escape the world and time will not touch you. And it does do a pretty good job of describing the realm as it exists in this world. But I just think it's a nice little song. But again, they got to go somewhere. So Fly By Night, the Necromancer, and Rivendell.
All right, cool. All right, Lou, what we're doing is we're going 3 at a time. But since you're behind here, you could do like your 6. So you can go from 13 to 8.
Sounds good. Thank you. Oh, damn. I was just writing them out. Oh, hold on. Okay. And just because sometimes I have a tendency of getting tongue-tied.
Don't be unprepared like Manny is.
No, I'm prepared
Jesus
now.
Christ.
I'm good. Well, first of all, again, thanks for Manny unprepared. No, that's never a case. Manny is like a wellspring of knowledge when it comes to like music bands I've never heard of, and I've heard some of the funkiest bands out there. So I we always have funny banter between us, but like Manny's like definitely a go-to guy when it comes to music. So good to see you, buddy, and again, happy to be here.
If encyclopedia,
I didn't mention yet, Lou. Anyway,
if encyclopedias still existed, Manny would be one.
Encyclopedia Mantanica. Anyways,
Mantanica.
So first off, Al, this is a real treat for me because we became friends on Facebook because of our mutual love for Rush.
I know.
So finally,
that's why I asked you to come on here, man. This is the first time you're on our show, so
it's the first time he's on.
Second time because you interviewed us about Severed Angel.
Oh, that's right.
That's true. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I quickly would forget.
Again, the greatest question that was ever asked, about Randy Rhoads influencing like one of the songs on the third album, When Eternity Ends, the song, not The Demon's Alive, In My Skin. And I was like, wow, I didn't even realize I did that. Al going for the deep questions. That was awesome. So
actually, that's how I met Al. He came on our show on Ralph's show to talk about Rush.
It was a throwdown between 2112 and the Farewell to Kings.
Yeah.
Love 2112, but if I was on that show, I'd give it to a Farewell to Kings because it's got
it was a track by track battle.
Doesn't
So-
matter. Doesn't matter. I know. I love the track by
I
tracks.
don't know.
But
Sometimes, man, it's different when you do
no,
track by
Farewell
track.
to Kings has the greatest song ever written on it, so that wins by proxy. Xanadu, baby. Anyway,
I'm
Wrong
Xanadu.
Xanadu.
I couldn't agree more.
Oh, that's my
Olivia
number one too.
Newton-John and that dude from ELP. Ah,
What?
ELO.
Xanadu. They were
The
skating
movie,
around.
you know, the movie Xanadu in
Yeah.
1980.
Remember they were skating around.
Yeah.
She escaped
Yeah, it
from
was with Olivia Newton-John and
Olivia Newton, Babe. Yeah.
yeah, and the soundtrack was by Electric Light Orchestra.
Well,
Yeah, I would
together,
watch
they had
that
some
movie with
songs.
the sound off. Anyway, go ahead.
Too bad Evil Woman wasn't on it. Anyways, moving right along. So our mutual love of Rush, which is why I'm here. A little backstory. So I was a wee tyke when I discovered Rush because my brothers had like a bunch of the cassettes. Fly By Night was actually the one of the first songs I remember listening to from them, not realizing it was the same band that did Tom Sawyer and the entire Moving Pictures album and Signals. And Signals was the album that, made me fall in love with the band Rush when I was a kid. But Fly By Night is actually the second Rush CD that I ever purchased with my own money.
Oh wow!
First one being Chronicles, because I just wanted to, because like I said, I grew up a fan of 80s Rush. So I wanted to hear Chronicles just to hear like where they came from and where they ended up going as far as Presto, and realizing, oh my God, I really love the 70s stuff.
Yeah.
But Fly By Night, the album, holds a special place for me. Caress of Steel, I mean, I'll get to it when I discuss the songs, but numbers 13 through 6.
You're 8, right?
To 8, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
thank
8.
you.
Yeah.
So 13, I'm gonna go with I Think I'm Going Bald. It's a goofy song. It's funny, but when I love Rush's sense of humor, but I mean, come on, compared to like the other 12 songs, I'm sorry, it just doesn't do anything for me. Number 12, I put Fountain of Lamneth down here, even though I think it's a great song.
Ooh.
Especially Neil's drum solo on it. And I'm not saying it's a bad song, it's just I like the other songs more.
Gotcha.
And you'll probably be surprised at what my number 1 is. Number 11, I'm gonna go with Best I Can. This is sort of like transitionary Rush. Like, it still reminds me heavily of the first album, and it shows on Fly By Night that some of those influences are still there.
Yeah.
But again, Fly By Night is their transitionary album because it shows where they were coming from to where they were going. So again, good song, just not one of my favorites. Number 10, I would go In the End, only because, again, there's just songs that I like more than this one. Like, I don't hate any of these songs.
You just have to rank them.
Yeah, like I don't hate any 70s Rush. I don't even hate any 80s Rush. I like Hold Your Fire. Sue me. I don't care. But yeah, so I'll put In the End at number 10, even though that's got some great playing on it. Number 9, you guys were talking about Tolkien before. My exposure to Tolkien was the Rankin Bass and Ralph Bakshi animated films.
Those are a trip.
You got to be tripping to enjoy them. But like that was my first exposure to the world of Tolkien, and remembering Rivendell the way it was especially drawn in the Bakshi film. This song, if you were to like take out the audio from the film and replace it with this, it looks like it would flow very well. But a great song, beautiful acoustic guitars on it, and Geddy singing in a normal voice, not his howling, shrieking banshee voice, which again is part of what makes Rush great. And number 8, I would give it to Making Memories. Not for nothing, but that song really shows that Rush could write quick pop songs with great melodic sensibilities. So it only makes sense in the 80s. They kind of went, less of a proggy time signature direction, more of a radio friendly one, because that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to condense their talent into radio formatted songs. And I don't think that could have been done if they didn't write songs like Making Memories. So again, I think it's another hallmark moment for them.
That's a
So
good point. I never thought about that
I
before.
never thought about it.
Good point.
cool. Thanks. All right. So that's my 13 to 8.
Can you just review them real quick again? Real quick.
We mean right? Name the song.
Just review. Go from 13 to 8 again, real quick.
I think I'm going bald. Fountain of Lemneth, Best I Can, In the End, Rivendell, and Making Memories.
Okay, cool. All right, Andy.
Yeah, I'm going to start off with making memories, and that's what Lou was saying, that that's pretty cool how they transition with that song. But the thing is that it is this slow because I really enjoy what Rush becomes on these two albums, and so that's why that's there. I think I'm going bald will be my next one. We've always heard about Rush's offbeat sense of humor, so that's what the song reminds me of. And the first time that I heard it, it was always a little joke between me and my cousin, because he's 8 years younger than me and he's balding and I'm not. So I would throw that at him for a while until he kind of told me that wasn't that funny, but I thought it was. And then I'm going to go with the lead off track, Bastille Day is what I'm going to pick for my third track there. Bastille
Number
Day.
8. Okay.
Number 8. Yeah. It really pained me to put it there, but I didn't know where else to put it.
All right, man. So my number 10, I'm going with Best I Can. Okay, again, like the Tim's mentioned earlier, they were doing that song when Rutsy was in the band, because it's in that was it a Laura Secord school where they're playing in a school auditorium, which is a treasure. I mean, when that came out, it was like that was like a holy. I always thought the Holy Grail would have a live show with Rutsy on it, and that was great. That the bonus was it was a video,
and him talking and introducing the songs.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Question: that live recording of Garden Road, is that with John on drums?
No, that's Neil.
That's Neil.
Yeah.
Shame on me for not knowing that.
On the first tour, they were still pulling out, like, was it Garden Road and what was the other one?
Fancy
Tim?
Dancer.
Fancy Dancer.
And Bad Boy.
Bad Boy, yeah. It was a the Beatles covered it, but it was Larry Williams' song or something like that. But yeah, they used to kind of do it the Beatlesque way though a little bit, but have their own spin on it. Anyway, so that's my number 10, Best I Can. Number 9, I'm going with the title track, Fly By Night. I like Fly By. I always like the live version better. I think it just had more crunch to the guitar, and I don't know, just a little heavier. But I could see why that song probably got airplay in Canada back in the day, because it is more of a kind of a shows a more popular side of Rush, even all the way back then, And then number 8, Lakeside Park. I'm going with Lakeside Park. I love that song. I just have to rank it somewhere. I remember years, reading interviews that Geddy did not like that song at all,
Yeah.
And it was a surprise to me on the last tour that they actually played it, So I was like, wow, it's like they pulled this one out, even though Geddy didn't really. Maybe he came around to it. I don't know,
Or it could be because Neil wrote the words, I think,
about where he
from
grew
experience.
Up. Yeah.
So knowing how he went out at the time and knowing that this might have been his final tour, could have been just a treat for Neil for them to do that.
Yeah. So my number 10 is gonna be Best I Can. Number 9, Fly By Night. Number 8, Lakeside Park. So now we're gonna go 7, 6, 5, Manny.
All right. You know what I was thinking? It's a shame the music industry is such crap now. I mean, because back then they gave bands time to develop their sound.
Yeah.
Nowadays, Rush, Kiss, AC/DC, all of them would have been dropped. It's insane. All right. Well, I have.
Well, I think Well, I think nowadays, no, because there's no record companies really anymore. There's, I think with the advent of you could put out an album independently now, but in the 80s and in the 90s, that time when record companies really had a hold on bands and shit like that, yeah, that was
You
a different
definitely
time.
couldn't make a living.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all right, but at the same time, then you had in the '90s, you had stuff like, all right, Nine Inch Nails. The first album came out in '89. All right, doesn't become a hit till 1990. Next one, 1994. The next one, 5 years. So you start at the age of 13. By the time you're 20, 21, it's turned into a nostalgic act in 3 albums. It's ridiculous because they wait so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
skipped 92. They did have the what was it, the Fixed album, I think, with
Oh,
Wish.
dude,
Broken.
that's all. Yeah, Wish
Broken.
and Broken.
It was an EP.
Well,
Broken, right? I mean, I would have never heard of Nine Inch Nails if it wasn't for the song Wish, and that's what made me a fan of theirs.
well, I'm not picking on them anyway. I like Nine Inch Nails. My point is that if you're, when you and I were well, not you, Luke, because you're a youngster, you're the kid, but but when we were, by the time the band got to album number 3, your life has moved on already. You might college or what have
Yeah,
you.
5 years is a long time in the music business.
Yeah. And I think that's another reason that, other than maybe Pearl Jam and a few others in the 90s and maybe a few from 2000s like Foo Fighters, you're not going to see these long careers. If you do, they're going to fall into the oldies circuit. Anyway, enough of my bitching.
No,
All right.
it's a good point.
But then again, it also goes back to the listener. An album was released when I was 15, and now I'm 20. It's different for me now. I'm not listening to that kind of music anymore. But in the 70s, when they did album after album, you were able to grow up with that band.
Absolutely. And Rush is a perfect example. I
Rush,
discovered
Neil Young and stuff like that.
Yeah. But they also had a catalog. In 1983, I was 13 years old. So, they already had a catalog of albums. So I wasn't just stuck on 2 or 3 albums.
Yeah.
I can go and grab an entire discography pretty cheap, even if I didn't buy them used, for $5, $10 or whatever. And I could have it at my disposal. Nowadays, if I'm a fan of whatever, there's not much for me to choose from. Plus, now, I mean, kids, they consume music differently than I do. I totally get that.
Of course, of all of us, really.
Yeah. And I totally get that. It's a different world out there. It's really turned into a singles world more than an album world.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. I like albums because I'm 90 years old, but but
No, I mean, you make a good point. I mean, look at the band Ghost. They finally got their first platinum single for Mary on the Cross, not because of airplay, because of TikTok streams.
Well, look what happened to Fleetwood Mac, almost 50-year-old song because some kid or a grown-up, I don't remember what, skating.
Was
Yeah,
it
with
Silver
Dreams.
Springs or something?
Yeah.
It was Dreams.
Or Dream? No,
Dreams.
Dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. You place a movie in Guardians of the Galaxy, and your streaming revenue goes up.
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Metallica. And Kate Bush. Remember, Kate Bush had a number.
Yeah.
I know she had a hit like freaking 30 years later.
Yeah.
Right.
And then everyone and their mothers try to cover it.
Yeah, but my point is that I just don't think it's hard, like you pointed out, Andy. You grew up with these bands, you discover these bands, and then you become faithful and stay with them till they break up and afterwards, like we all have. Anyway, now my list.
Oh, never mind.
Oh no, go ahead, Lou.
Well,
Yeah,
I just wanted to add real quick. A big part of why Nine Inch Nails only released 3 studio albums in 10 years, a lot of it had to do with litigation. Trent was suing to get out of TVT at the time, and that's why, his work with Interscope was as sparse as it was, and why he was relegated to doing singles and soundtrack appearances. But what, for me, as an independent artist, or as a guy in a band that's not signed, who, we release our music on our own, with the exception of the last album, which was put out by a label, which was, it didn't cost us anything. I mean, we didn't make anything from it, but we'd rather, have it that way, and that's okay. It gave more freedom back to the artist, because that's what, Trent was, what he was suing for, so, unfortunately, it led to the downfall of the music industry. But I think what it also did was help the creativity of the person writing the song. And and as much as I admit that there were things about the music industry that bands benefited from, if you're in it just for the love of the music, you're not in it to make money. It's a completely different story from someone who wants to be a lifer and do this for the rest of their life, and be willing to work with producers and songwriters and hit makers and tastemakers and all that. And Rush was never about that, giving guys like me inspiration to do our own thing. And Nails said, "Hey, I don't want this label representing me." So I a double-edged sword. But if you're doing music more of like a passion project or a hobby, there's no failure in it.
I'm not going to disagree with anything you said. As a matter of fact, I don't think any of us are going to be crying a river over the music industry as a whole. I think it's a shame, the promotion and some of the things they did. But Tim, I can't speak for you because you live in Canada. I don't know how your radio stations work over there. But over here, stuff like Clear Channel. Actually, we can use Rush as an example. Where I live in Tampa, Florida, and Al lives, you get to hear Tom Sawyer, Spirit of Radio, and what's the other one, Al?
Limelight.
Subdivisions.
Limelight.
Okay.
Limelight.
Yeah.
That's
So,
it. That's it, Tim. That's all you get. So if you're a kid listening to the radio, you're never going to want to hear a damn Rush song ever again, because that's all you hear is those 3 songs. That's really it.
I'm right there with you, and it's exactly very formatted. The only difference is that there's probably, because by law up here in Canada, you have to, a radio station has to average 35% Canadian content by law.
Okay.
So naturally, you're going to play a few more Rush songs, a few more Neil Young songs, a few more Tragically Hip songs.
Frank Marino.
I've never heard Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush on the radio ever.
That's a shame.
Ever.
Right.
But I know what you mean. Like, it's, to listen to most radio, you would think that Kansas had Carry On Wayward Son, and that was it.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why I chose them as one of the bands I wrote a book on. I want people to know that there's a lot more out there. If you listen to, like, even the biggest of bands, well, a good example, Journey. I'm a huge Journey fan. I need never hear Don't Stop Believin' ever again.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever. Used to be one of my all-time favorite songs, would always put me in a good mood. It comes on, I change the station because they've killed it.
Yeah.
And they had there's a dozen more songs that they could play easily.
There's
So
2 greatest hits packages from Journey that were all radio hits.
It is very simple.
But it's weird, man. Like, now, not to get too much off a tangent here, but like, a perfect example is Journey, who had like a dozen hits, man. And it's like, even with like dozen bona fide hits, you only hear like 2 of the songs off the hits.
But over the years, it gets boiled down.
It gets boiled down to like,
because there's no
songs,
there's no such thing as how many times have we heard tell of a band breaking regionally because of one radio station in Detroit is playing something? That doesn't happen anymore.
No,
and listen,
everything is off.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I work in this industry, and the DJ has no control over what they play. That's just how it is.
There's no influence from the
you want
anymore.
your job.
Yeah.
You shut up and play what's on the list.
Yeah.
Don't rock the boat.
Yeah, only Eddie Trunk could get away with a specialty show.
And Eddie Trunk is one of the guys that actually stands up for that, because somebody once complained to him that someone said, he just said that Uriah Heep have a new album out, and yet they played Easy Living. He's like, they probably wanted to play something from the new album, but they can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, we'll have to one day do a show on just bit session, but I joke with Al all the time because me and Al go a lot of shows.
we'll wait till I'm retired, maybe, from what I'm doing. And
All right, done. You got it.
When the
You got it.
when the NDA passes.
Yeah. We'll wait till you retire, but
yeah,
I
got
joke with
like a shock collar thing on. You can't see it, but it's
Yeah,
like
let's
it's like the
Ali's
Running Man.
convulsing, save him.
Yeah, I can only
The
get so
Running
far around my.
Well, me and I always joke with Al, if bands listen to me about playing live sets, nobody would show up because it'd be nothing but deep cuts.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, of course. Because every time we go see a show, it's always the same songs.
Because that's what the audience wants. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I really like the way that bands went touring and played whole albums. That was really cool. I really like when they did.
It was a trend, but I liked that trend because it made sure that there were at least a couple of songs that were going to get played that had never been played or very rarely been played.
Yeah.
And how do you think these songs became classics? Because they were played live,
Yeah.
Anyway. I guess I'll start. All right, Best I Can. I actually like that song, but it's got to go somewhere. But I like it. Best I Can. Beneath, Between, and Beyond. Is it Behind? I can't
Behind.
Another great song, but I got to put it somewhere. And this is going to shock you guys because By Tor and the Snow Dog. First time I heard that song was on All the World to Stay.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the hell they were going on about. By Tor and a Snow Dog, and I had no clue. But you know what? I didn't give a rat's ass because the song ruled. But I still had no idea. Definitely was not Gene Simmons or Paul songwriting. But great stuff, and I love it. But it's got to go somewhere. So those are my three.
All right.
Cool.
All right.
So my next three, Beneath, Between, and Behind, which is like Getty even said in later, that was a mouthful to get all those words out, and it with that crazy playing. I still don't know what most of the I don't know if I could recite those lyrics. I could bluff my way through phonetically, but I don't know if I could tell you without a lyric sheet in front of me what everyone says. Next up is In the End. I really like In the End because it's sort of like I don't want to say power ballad, but it's kind of this anthem. It starts in slow, and there's something. It's a weird word to use in reference to Rush, but there's something soulful about the way Getty sings it. Like he really means it. And I think this is one. I don't think Neil has a writing credit on this one. I could be wrong about that, but I think this is another one of those older ones. But I really like it. I don't know what else to say. I really like it. The next one is Lakeside Park. Always liked that song. I remember, I read like when I think it was Counterparts era when Getty referred to it as a lousy song. I'm like, I love Lakeside Park. Anyway, I really like that one. And I just want to say, so Beneath, Between, and Behind, In the End, and Lakeside Park. Are we going to do 4, 3, and 2? Because everybody's going to know what our number ones are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep. All right, man. So Lou, go ahead. You're 7, 6, and 5.
All right, so number 7, I'm gonna go Fly By Night. Like I said, when I was a kid and we're talking like the ages of 5, 6 around that time, and I took my brother's Fly By Night cassette, and it was already rewound to side B, so that was the first side that I put on, and I heard the song, and I was just like blown away. Like I thought it was very like mystic the way the song was playing, and when you're 5 years old and like you're watching He-Man and things like that, you have like crazy like fantasy type visions in your head, and I just pretended like I was like soaring on the wings of an eagle. God, that sounds retarded, but like that's
You get it.
But
with a sword. Let's say that with a sword
and shields.
Yeah.
Zelda came out a year later, so that definitely solidified it. So I definitely have a lot of love for that song, and it was one of the first songs I was able to play on guitar from start to finish.
Yeah.
Alex Lifeson is like one of my heroes, and Rush is in my top 5. So right up there with Sabbath, Maiden, Priest, and Van Halen. So number 6, I got to give it to Beneath, Between, and Behind. I love the groove on that song. Just the way that all the band members just gel. It's like butter. It's that good to me. And at my age, 44, I think a lot about Astoria, Queens, where I was raised, and how much it was the greatest place on earth to me growing up. Now you couldn't pay me to live there. So for that reason, Lakeside Park actually holds a special place for me, because it brings me back to happier times during my teen years when, I started making friends. And I think about, the fact that I'm still friends with a lot of those kids. Well, now we're not kids. Now we're all adults, with kids of our own. But, like I think back to those days, and a song like Lakeside Park actually kind of, brings you back to happier times. So, it's probably my main reason for loving it as much as I do is for the nostalgic purposes, and, taking it for granted when I was 14, when I first heard it, because I'm thinking like, oh, what is this nostalgic? Like, why are people looking back on their memories and this and that? And now it's like, wow, you realize the best memories, are what kept you going through dark times, So I could, Neil, as much of a freaking god tier beast of a drummer that he was, you can't take away from his lyrical talents. Like, people want to say, oh, like, people want to talk a bunch of shit and say like, oh, Neil does like, some weird rhymes with his, yeah, but they work. And that's what makes a lyricist.
You know what?
I think
I defend Neil Peart as a lyricist. These are early Neil Peart lyrics, and they're still pretty good. And they're not. God, if you get to the stuff in the '90s or the 2000s, just read it. It's pure poetry. I'm not kidding, and I read all the time. He's. I don't know when he's going to get his due as a lyricist. Maybe never, because the only thing critics hated more than heavy metal was Rush, and anyway, I agree with you, Lou. I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but I agree with you.
All good. My thunder's there to share with everyone.
I think Neil said in an interview one time too, like Lakeside Park. He mentioned like every person has like their own Lakeside Park.
Yeah.
I certainly, where I grew up, there was parks that I went to, and I remember going and meeting my friends at park, and we'd go there at night and fucking drink and whatever, man. But then during the day there was for me it was like the Jersey Shore, going down, playing the games on the boardwalk, and I don't know, just this song always brought me back to those like great times growing up, and so I mean it was my number 8, so I probably could have ranked it a little higher, but it's just other songs that I like more, but I love the song, man. I don't know. I guess maybe there was a point when maybe Getty couldn't relate to it or something, or the arrangement of the song. I don't know why he said it was lousy. I have to disagree with him on that. But the fan and the artists are always, when you're the artist making the music, you always have a different perspective on your own work.
Yep.
And even your retrospective your perspective changes, because even though it was 18 years removed at that point, when you get 28 years and 38 years, now you look back on it differently.
Yeah.
And, I mean, with as far as Neil's sort of experiments with lyrics, and I don't think Lakeside Park was much of an experiment. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But something like Beneath, Between, and Behind, I like to say, if he hadn't gotten that out of his system and writing all those syllables, we never would have got the beauty of songs like The Pass in later years, right? So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fact that you learn to write better songs and better lyrics the more you do it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even with my experience with Severed Angel, like I was, prior to joining the band, when I tried to write lyrics, I was like, oh my God, somebody shoot me. And, it was our singer / producer, Alex, who gave me the confidence to write lyrics for the first album. And then as I started writing more lyrics, I got more confident. And you only get better at it the more you do it.
Yeah, it's a muscle. You got to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's face it, the melodies that he had to write the lyrics to weren't always the easiest to
Yeah.
have a meter to it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I always found it pretty unique, like the way they wrote. Getty and Alex would go off and write the music. Neil would write the lyrics, and then they'd come together and formulate songs out of it. And it's like, Neil would have to go and rewrite. He always said he'd have to go and kind of rewrite things and to kind of fit the melodies of the music. And
he got better at that over the years, realizing,
Yeah.
okay, Getty's got to sing this
Yeah,
and make it
he became more sympathetic.
Yeah.
He became more sympathetic to what Getty needed to do, so and he became a fan of singer-songwriters like later as years went on. So if you read Neil's books, his musical taste was pretty
broad.
it wasn't like a lot of heavy rock and stuff, and it was a lot of singer-songwriter stuff. So
I think the Who was the heaviest band he listened to.
Yeah.
Well, and it's kind of interesting because remember that album Feedback?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess his choice was Blue Cheer. When Dickie Peterson died, he actually wrote a very nice piece on Dickie Peterson. You would have thought that Neil Peart would be the last person in the world that would have listened to Blue Cheer, which is about as primitive as rock music can get, and yet he just seemed like a cool, genuine guy. He really did.
Yeah.
There's not many musicians. There are a lot of bands that change the way music is looked at, but not individual musicians, how an instrument's looked at. Neil Peart, his impact on drumming is ridiculous. He invented modern prog drumming, really.
Yeah.
The guy was phenomenal. Actually, Rush was phenomenal, and
he made percussion he made drumming a melodic kind of instrument, man.
He was the Eddie Van Halen of drums.
Yeah.
That's the best way I could put it.
That's funny you meant, and we lost them both in the same year. What a shitty year that was.
What a shit year, yeah. It's also interesting because Geddy Lee, the way he was able to deliver those songs, like he wrote them. And then like Roger Daltrey in The Who, I think he wrote one song, Anywhere, Anyhow in The Who. Yet when he sings them, you don't doubt that he means every word that he's singing, even though he didn't write him. Same thing with Geddy Lee.
Yeah.
Amazing band. Anyway, go ahead.
Andy.
Yeah, my next ones are going to be Beneath, Between, and Behind, just like everybody else right now. And after that, I'm going to go with the Fountain of Lamneth. And then after that, Fly By Night. Down here in Houston, Texas, when I was growing up, when I was in junior high, they played Fly By Night quite a bit on the radio down here. And that was what I first heard, Rush on the radio was Fly By Night. And they played it quite a bit down here.
Wow.
As well.
Yeah.
I grew up in Corpus Christi. It was like 2 hours away from San Antonio. And San Antonio is a big city for Rush.
Oh, yeah.
A very long time.
Very big.
I think that kind of trickled down to our radio station as well.
Yeah.
So, Fly By Night is a song that I was very familiar with. So that's where that one goes. So those are my three. My three were Beneath, Between, and Behind, The Fountain of Lamneth, and Fly By Night.
All right. My number 7 is going to be In the End. I love the version on the Exit Stage Left concert video.
Yeah.
That medley that they do at the end, man. And I love that. I love that version on there. My number 6 will be Beneath, Between, Behind. I love the version on Exit Stage Left album of that. Where they're coming out of. Where are they coming out of?
Maple Leaf Gardens?
No. They're coming out with another
song
and they go right into it. It's kind of like
Passage to Bangkok?
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of surprising to me that they were still playing that song in 1981.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know, a little bit of my Rush history. Like, Exit Stage Left was actually the first album I bought by them. Not the first thing I heard by them was there was a station in New York growing up called WPLJ. It was 95.5, and they turned into a pop station as they in the mid to late 80s into the 90s, but they were very much a very big rock station in the 70s and early 80s, and they used to play album sides on Sundays. And I remember as a kid, I used to tape, you know, because I didn't have a lot of money to buy albums, so I would take blank tapes and tape the album sides that they play. So one night they played. It was Sunday nights they used to do it, and they played side one of Permanent Waves. So I recorded it. So that's really the first Rush that I heard was. I mean, I think I remember hearing, you know, Tom Sawyer and Limelight on the radio, because when they did that album side, or Signals was already out. That was like the new album of the time. So I was like 10 years old, 10, 11 years old. But I taped that album side. So, you know, Spirit of Radio, Free Will, and Jacob's Ladder. That was the first thing I actually kind of had in my hands. That was Rush, even though it was a recorded tape. But I listened to that thing over and over, man. It was something about it. You know, being an 11-year-old, you wouldn't think you could wrap your head around like this proggy kind of, and the lyrics were like, what is he singing about? You know, what is he talking about? But I don't know, but it was just the way the music and the lyrics and the melodies kind of intrigued me as a kid. And I was like, it was accessible, really. Yeah. They did prog in an accessible way, you know. It was so I ate it up, man. And then I went out and I bought Exit Stage Left, and I never looked back, man. I just went and bought everything up until that point. I think Grace Under Pressure became the new album that came out that when I was already a fan. So anyway, so yeah, my number 7 was In the End. Number 6, Beneath, Between, Behind. My number 5, I'm going with Fountain of Lamneth. So that's my number 5. No One at the Bridge, man. That part is Alex's solo in that song is worth the price of admission alone. I think that song is unbelievable. That solo that he does on there is just like he's a god, man, you know, and that's why he's one of my influences too. But that whole side length, you know, side 2, which is supposed to be a whole side long suite. You know, I mean, if you really think if they didn't do that, it kind of was a setup for 2112. It was like their rough draft in a way, you know, and then 2112, you know, the whole, you know, the album tanked and the tour was like dubbed the Down the Tubes tour. I'm just glad they never gave up, man. Like they really got fired up and kind of went even proggier and gave them their and showed the record company that we're gonna do shit our way, man, and don't just leave us alone and let's do our thing. And 2112, like being the breakout album for them, really gave them their freedom. So you know, we wouldn't be here probably talking about them if Crest of Steel was like their last album. Yeah, you know. So
definitely,
it's funny how these divine interventions, like, you know, these divine things in the universe happen. So So anyway, In the End, Beneath, Between, Behind, Fountain of Lamneth. Those are my 3.
Yeah, they might have gone the way of Atomic Rooster. It's like, you know, you only know about them if you know about them.
Yeah,
they would have one of those bands that are, you know, people talk like if Kiss hadn't made it with Kiss Alive and they'd put the first 3 albums out, they'd be like, oh, they were a seminal influence on punk music, but they broke up after their 3rd album. Like, you just never know.
Yeah.
Or if UFO never made it with, oh, never mind.
Yeah, but UFO at least made it internationally. I mean, Rush did too, but not yet.
Right.
No.
I mean, from a domestic perspective, our domesticity. I mean, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
They had that chance with Strangers, and then Michael Schenker bailed.
Oh, really? Thin Lizzy too. I mean, they're only known for like one song over here, really.
Well, every time they were supposed to tour the States, Phil caught hepatitis.
Yeah, they would get sick because they were all fucked up.
Yeah.
So
opioids are bad for you, kid. They feel good, but they're bad.
Yeah, they're bad.
All right, Manny, you're 4, 3, and 2.
All right, you got it. By the way, my first Rush album I ever heard was Permanent Waves because my brother. But the first 2 I bought was Rush and Crest of Steel because they were cheap. So that's where I come in.
Bargain bin.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know what? Great. Thank God for bargain bins back then. All right.
Even
Fountain.
today, they're great.
Yeah, the Fountain of Lament. Again, back then I didn't know what I knew it was some sort of suite. I don't think I called it that. I called it one long ass song.
Yeah.
But all I knew, I didn't know again what was going on, but I knew it was ambitious and I knew it was great and I thought it was cool. So that was that. I still like the song. Um, and again, rough draft for what was to come. So that makes it cool. I actually like Lakeside Park. The first time I heard it was All the World's a Stage. I thought it was a little different than everything else because you listen to that damn album, All the World's a Stage. That is a heavy metal album. That thing
Oh,
is
yeah.
loud,
Yeah.
it's abrasive,
Raw.
and yeah, and it rocks. Then you get to Lakeside Park, it still rocks. So it's still awesome. And Bastille Day. At the time, I didn't know anything about Bastille Day. I thought it was just some crazy Canadian holiday. I didn't know they were talking about some story. All I knew, it was awesome. And they talked about beheadings, which reminded me of my hero. And number one.
No,
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
Save your number one.
All right. But that's my three. And you know what all those songs are? Awesome. Who's next?
So my next one is By Tor and the Snow Dog. That's the first one of the long songs that. Yeah, that's the first one of the really long songs that I heard in the order that I bought the tapes. And yeah, the bargain bin used to be my best friend. I've found a lot of my all-time favorite albums that way. So I like that song. I love reading in years later the story behind. It was like their lighting guy, Howard Ungerleider. He had two dogs. It was this really timid, white dog. So they called it the Snow Dog. But then there was another one that bit everybody, a Bitor, a biter. So they make it sound like this mythical thing, and they're like what the heck is the sign
It's
of
a joke
F?
about two dogs.
Yeah, what the heck is the sign of F? I don't know, but it's rising in the air, and it doesn't sound like it's a good thing. So next up is the Fountain of Lamneth, but I got to tell this story because Caress of Steel, like I said, one of the heaviest albums I bought at the time, and because I grew up pretty much on the Canada-U.S. border, I used to buy a lot of tapes in the States too. I was buying cassettes back then, and because the exchange rate was pretty good. But if anybody ever bought Caress of Steel on cassette in the U.S., you'll know the song order is messed straight up. Like if you'd have said to me at that time, I really like the Fountain of Lamneth, I'd be like, what are you talking about? On Caress of Steel, I'm like, I have Caress of Steel. There is no song called the Fountain of Lamneth. What are you talking about? Because for some reason, Mercury took Didax and Narpitz, the drum solo, the second part, and put it in between Bastille Day and Lakeside Park. And they took, I think I'm going bald, and put it after, I think it's called In the Valley.
Yeah.
So my experience listening to side 2 of Caress of Steel was completely different. I just thought it was 6 different songs. And it's just that the first song on side 2 and the last song had the same musical part, like da 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 da. Like I thought, well, that's kind of neat. They're like bookends, but I didn't really know. It wasn't until I bought Archives on cassette, which is the first 3 albums. This is the Fountain of Lamneth that breaks it down. That's when I realized I'd been listening to a really weird version of Caress of Steel. But anyway,
That's right, man. I remember that too.
Yeah, and the Fountain of Lamneth is such an important song for them. It's such an important movement for them because it was a dry run for 2112. Now I don't think it's as cohesive as 2112 because 2112 they really got good, and they got good with hemispheres too at weaving melodies throughout, so you're kind of listening to one continuous theme. No One at the Bridge is awesome, but it's almost
its own song.
They're almost at their own, with the exception of In the Valley, and then like the last part, I think it's called The Fountain. They're really their own songs because No One at the Bridge is this great, moody, dark, slow song, and when I read years later that Neil wrote that about adolescence, I really related to that because adolescence is a terribly awkward time for a lot of us. It
Amen.
certainly was for me, and that's what it felt like. So that was great. And Alex's guitar is a brown, like that's a great guitar solo.
Oops.
And then Bacchus Plateau is practically back to that fly by night making memories pop sensibility. Like that's a very catchy song. That Draw Another Goblet, like that's a catchy chorus.
Yeah.
I remember listening to that in headphones, and the first time that I heard Didax and Narpitz, where it does that listen, that was like that kind of startled me. I was like, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What I'd like to know is who's actually singing that part. Or who's
Yeah,
singing.
and the second thing that I got startled by was the very end of Caress of Steel when you think it's done, and then it goes like it does that weird surge at the end. And it was it's like, okay, fine, you know, give me another nightmare. But yeah, but the Fountain of Lamneth is amazing. It's an amazing song about like a life cycle or whatever. But it is funny when you hear them talk about how high they were when they made that album. It does sound like it. You know, they were like, let's write a song about living and dying and the Fountain of Youth, man. Let's do that. Yeah.
I think they were smoking a lot of hash at that time.
Yeah.
And probably a lot of those Cheech and Chong records that are now in Al's collection.
Right.
Well, and I didn't know this for years, but you know how they used to end, what is it, The Big Money? They'd throw in a little bit of that
Earache My Eye.
Earache My Eye. Yeah.
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 Cheech and Chong featuring Alice Bowie.
Yeah.
Genius.
And then my next one is Bastille Day. I mean, that thing just kills. It's literally about beheading, but it's such a bludgeoning song. I love it. Doesn't matter what version it is, but it is a perfect, it's a great opener for All the World's a Stage because they just come out of the gates. And yeah, that's the heaviest Rush album. I mean, if you're counting all of their albums, it's, you know, the heaviest studio album. I'm not sure what you'd probably Caress of Steel, but All the World's a Stage, their heaviest album. Everything is just so raw and just in your face. But but Bastille Day, that's one of my all-time favorite Rush songs, not just from this era. So By Tor and the Snow Dog, Fountain of Lamneth, and Bastille Day.
I remember my mom really liked it, Panacea on
oh yeah, well that's a night. Yeah, that's right. That's almost like a more of a full band version of Rivendell.
Yeah,
because it is very delicate, but you do have Neil playing some brushes and again, Geddy proves that he can sing.
Yeah,
you know,
very melodically.
Yeah.
My mom loved that song and Tears. That was like her favorite.
Yeah,
you know, she loved those songs. So
I always said, you know, in another parallel universe, they could have thrown Tears out as an unmarked single and not said who it was, and it could have been a hit just like Beth was for Kiss.
Yeah. But, you know, I think radio back then, man, they had such a thing. Rush had such a stigma. It was getting.
That's why I say put it out unmarked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and just let people play it and see what happens.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think about weird things like that time to time.
I think though, like the way critics were against Rush and, you know, radio's reluctance to playing them in the 70s, at least, you know, I think it just drew their hardcore audience fans closer to them. It really solidified that fan base. Like, I don't care what any of these people think. I like this band. Yeah, exactly. All right, man. So Lou, you're up. 4, 3, and 2.
All right. So number 4, I'm gonna go with the opening track to Fly By Night Anthem. Such a balls out riff fest, and with my old Rush tribute band Snakes and Arrows, we sometimes would, like, our opening song usually depended if we felt like doing the 2112 overture into Spirit of Radio, or doing just the first 2 parts of 2112, or if we were going to do the R30 overture into Spirit of Radio.
Yeah.
And you know, playing the riff to Anthem live was just always such a killer moment for me on stage. Because, like, as soon as that, you know, we'd hit that break, I'd scream to the audience, "Come on!" And everyone would be freaking out. So, like, you know, I always got a kick out of that. But, you know, Anthem is just such a driving song. And and still one of my favorites to this day. Number 3, I'm gonna go with Bastille Day. It's funny because I think about what I think about the band Dream Theater, who I love dearly, and just remember that uh, they were originally called Majesty.
Yes.
And thinking Mike Portnoy said that he came up with the word majesty because I think at the time he was listening to Bastille Day, and the word that he chose to describe the song was majestic.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually how he came up.
Yeah, that ending
their name.
part. That ending part.
And I think that happened while they were outside waiting to get tickets for the Power Windows tour, if I have that right.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I actually Bastille Day was one of my first experimentations at using artificial intelligence to remove the original guitar parts out of a song, and for me to like do my own version of the song. And I got to play the riff. I got to do the solos my way. I got to do some crazy tracking using one of my guitars and an overdrive pedal and a phase shifter, and I was really proud with the results. And you could actually find it on my YouTube channel if you go to Music is Life podcast. You'll see my ugly face in the thumbnail, but it's there for anyone who wants to hear it or see it or watch whatever.
I'll have to check it out, man. I haven't checked that out.
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah, but Bastille Day, that's such I don't know why, but like I hear that song and I for some reason scenes from the BBC TV series Blackadder run in my head. I don't know, it just kind of fits.
Yeah.
I'm a big Anglophile too, so love that stuff. And number 2, I'm gonna go with Bytor and the Snow Dog because, like, that part after where Getty screams, "Let the fight begin." My God, that's the song that I want to hear when I go into battle. Like, again, when you're a teenager and you're hearing these songs and you're on a heavy diet of Dragon Ball Z, all you can think about is combat. And that part alone makes one want to go into combat. Now, I don't suggest going to pick fights, kids, especially across bigger kids, because they'll kick your ass. So, but great song nonetheless. And, I love the stop time signatures, especially when they do like the banana, like that timing, hugely influential for me as a songwriter. And I'm actually experimenting more with ideas like that on not the next Severed Angel album that's coming out next year, but the one that we're working on now, which will come out the year after. So,
Wow.
I find inspiration everywhere.
Cool. As it should.
Yep.
All right, man. Andy.
Yeah, my number 4, 3, and 2. I'm going to agree with Lou right there. Anthem is my number 4. What a great leadoff track, man! That just comes in your face. You just drop the needle down and it's already there. It's already driving. After that one, I'm going to go with Bytor the Snow Dog as my number 3. With the first time you're hearing this album. Oh, hold on, just a moment, okay, guys.
All right.
Hold on.
It's that darn cat again now. No.
My 2 are sleeping over here.
Ah, nice.
Go ahead. I'll catch up in a minute.
Okay.
One thing that we failed to mention, unless you mentioned it before I came on, the album's called Caress of Steel, yet it has a copper look to it. I think that was a printing error, correct?
Yeah, that's the first one that Hugh Syme did, and he said that it when it came back, it was not how they envisioned it. And I remember somebody, I don't know if it was Hugh or somebody in the band, said that's when we realized we need to take control of this stuff. But I mean, I think it looks cool.
So
but you're right.
It kind of fits it kind of fits the music, that's it's the dark kind of.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's why I never looked at it and said, well, that's kind of strange because it's copper, it's not steel, but
yeah,
it did fit. It fits the darkness of the album. By the way, a trivia point. The guy that did the cover for Fly By Night, do you know what his connection to the Kiss world is?
It's not Ken Kelly, is it?
No,
No,
it's a good guess.
Who was the one that did Fly My Night?
Was it the guy who did the Destroyer album?
No,
That's Ken Kelly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ken Kelly did that. He did Rainbow Rising and a bunch of cool
who was
stuff.
the guy that did Fly My Night cover?
His name, I'm gonna butcher his name, but it was like Araldo Caragudi or something like that.
Geraldo Rivera? No, just kidding.
No, Araldo. It's Geraldo without a G. That's how it's spelled, I think. But it starts with C, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But he is the guy that did the portraits, the 4 portraits for the Kiss solo albums in '78.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Even Caressa Steele was shocked by that statement. Wow.
Yeah,
I know, right?
But yeah, so that's and I like the fact that I always like. I like the color blue anyway. So I like the fact that you have that. You've got an album with Neil, but they still hadn't started working with Hugh yet. It's so transitional, right? But yeah, you can see the Necromancer on the cover. If you look close enough, there's a snake. Like it's just, but really, like getting the back cover too with that old scary looking tree. It's all very Tolkien-esque. That whole artwork is.
Well, I'll say,
it's very dark, man. It's just kind of that's the back of it.
Yeah, like look at that.
It kind of looks like a waterfall with like a tree
but it's a tree's all gnarled and like menacing looking. And
I don't have my vinyl anymore. It got destroyed in the flood.
And then I love the way the lyrics are printed on the inside.
Yeah.
Hey, do me a favor, Al. Hold the record open with the cover and back cover showing towards the camera. You know, it's funny if you didn't realize it almost looks like 2 eyes looking at you.
Oh, I never. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I never noticed that until now. That's crazy.
Yeah. I never noticed that either. And I used to drink a lot back then. You would have think
Man, you still drink a lot now. What are you talking about back then?
But
I mean, that back cover could almost be the front cover. You know, they could almost be interchangeable. But
yeah. I do. Oh, sorry.
I do like the fact that inside the credits, I think is funny because I think it's cool that they were such good buddies with the Kiss guys, even though they didn't have anything in common musically. But in the thank yous, I think that all 4 members are mentioned. They just give them funny names. But the most obvious one is they thank Ape Friendly.
Yeah,
that's funny.
As opposed to Ace Frehley, and then they thank Mr.
Funny. I never.
Then they thank Mr. Eisen, which is obviously Paul Stanley. I don't know what they call. They call somebody Big Macho, so I don't know if that's supposed to be
Big Macho.
Gene.
That's gotta be Peter.
Maybe, yeah.
Because he was always going around bragging about his 9-inch.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
whatever. You gotta. If you're bragging, it's not that big.
Yeah. Well, I always thought Ape Friendly was
Brooklyn.
Funny.
I think that's great.
Sal DeBane, the Black Oak, Rick and the Shermans.
Well, Black Oak, Arkansas is a real band now.
Yeah. Tommy Aldridge was in that band. Sal DeBane is French for bathroom.
I never really like.
Or it's SALLE, but Sal. Hey, Sal DeBane, yeah.
Sal DeBane, s'il vous plaît, merci.
Yeah, monsieur. Maintenant. Yeah, I have to go to the Sal DeBane.
Tim, parlez-vous français?
Well, while we wait.
No.
We wait.
No.
No, I came from a Greek family. That was my first language. So.
I got to go do a numero 2. Unless Sal DeBane.
But listen, back to exposing. Manny, you still drink as much now as you did then. What are you talking about?
No, I cut back.
Dude, how many times have you done the show from the bar? Some chick's going, "Hey, big boy." It's like, I hope that's a chick.
Well, yeah, but I got to go to a different bar. I've already. Anyway.
Have you already worn out your welcome at the local watering hole, Manny?
No, they love me there, but the chicks
are you, dude, Lou? Yes, I walk in. First of all, the bar that he goes to is called the Long Bar. Okay, I walk in.
Who's bragging about Peter Criss? Okay, go ahead.
Boy, this took a turn.
I walk into the bar with Manny. Manny's like fucking Norm there. Like everybody knows his name. Everybody, it's nuts, man.
So, what I was gonna say, not about the bar, though I love that bar. Maybe Al, you might be able. When I was growing up, one of the things that appealed to me about Rush is going to sound silly, is they were covered in heavy metal magazines of the day, Hit Parader, Circus, Cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had a lot of metal fans, and we consider them a metal band, which sounds ridiculous now, but we did consider them a metal
They
band.
really were. They were in that metal.
Well, they were pretty. I mean, really until I don't know. I mean, even Farewell to Kings has some pretty heavy moments, even though they started using synths. So I mean, they were a heavy rock band for sure.
Yeah. And live, they were pretty heavy.
Something
But-
that's go ahead. Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that the interesting thing about, and I've learned this later on, is like Bytor and the Snow Dog. You've got Geddy and Alex that are sort of doing battle. Geddy's like, and Alex is, trying to duplicate, And I always wondered, because there are two songs, so that came out in early 1975. And I know of two songs that both came out in 1974 where you have instruments simulating a battle. One is a song called Ogre Battle from Queen 2.
Oh, that's
And the
right.
other one is The Gates of Delirium from the Yes album Relayer. Same idea. You've got instruments like duplicating the sound of this war going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously the idea, I know Rush were influenced by Yes, but it's just interesting that these guys all had the idea at the same time. Let's recreate a battle with our instruments.
Well,
Yeah.
it's also like the themes of Tolkien. I mean, it was a pretty popular thing with that generation. Robert Plant.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else wrote about this stuff. I didn't.
Well, Black
read
Sabbath.
it.
Black Sabbath's The Wizard is supposedly about Gandalf.
And I'd say John Anderson too from Yes. I mean, that stuff was very,
Oh
maybe
yeah,
not
definitely.
maybe not as overt, but yeah, you can hear it in some of his lyrics. Although
maybe
most of
some aspects of Jethro Tull as well, even though that was a little more Renaissance, but still it's the same, cut out of the same cloth.
it's
really.
also like with Jethro Tull, it's very English.
Very English.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jethro Tull is a very, very. I mean, I was just listening to him before we came on the air because I love this band. But yeah, but Yes never. I got into Yes with 90215,
Yeah.
and I went and saw them live when I was 13, and they played Starship Troopers, and my reaction was, "What the fuck is this?" I had no idea because I had no point of reference.
Right.
I didn't know Roundabout, which I did hear on the radio, was a Yes song.
Right.
I just thought they looked like used car salesmen that formed a band, if you watch the video. But I had no idea they had a long history like that. Yeah.
That was quite a comeback for them. It's funny because I'm still a relatively new Yes fan from about like 8 years or so. They've become one of my favorite bands. But I think one of the reasons is I realized, well, Rush aren't around anymore. And I always liked some of their songs, but I kind of dove head first. But it is true that like with Yes and with Kansas, they had heavy moments, but they never had an album's worth of them. Like Rush were heavier. No question about it. Alex's guitar tone was heavier. It was more saturated. There's no question they were a heavier band.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and it was just interesting. I don't think the record label marketed them as a heavy metal band, but
they could have. They could have. I mean, yeah.
I always thought, a lot of people say Rush is a prog band. I always thought they were a heavy rock band that had prog leanings to it. Whereas someone like Yes or King Crimson was more of a pure prog band. But even King Crimson later on in the 80s, they became this kind of whole new wavy kind of.
Oh, during the Adrian Blue era, yeah.
Yeah, the Adrian Blue era. They kind of more. I mean, actually, well, that whole thing when prog was big in the early 70s to mid, and then it started dying out in the mid 70s when punk started coming in. Punk was a reaction to prog, But I think punk was great because it made these prog bands kind of rethink, well, listen, we can kind of like shorten up our songs a little bit, maybe make them a little more concise and punchy, and kind of made its way into art rock. I think new wave is kind of a culmination of what prog and punk was, like kind of combining the two. Because
Well,
I mean, when you listen to somebody like I don't know, we're getting off a thing here, but I'm kind of waiting on Andy. So
yeah, we're just waiting on Andy.
so we're kind of going, we're just riffing here.
We're
But
going on the cuff.
someone like Talking Heads, when you listen to their music, it's pretty fucking sophisticated, man.
Yeah.
For a band that was born like out of the CBGB era of New York, where like punk was born. Yeah, they had like kind of like a punk ethos to them, but they were listening to some sophisticated stuff too. Because you listen to that stuff, it's not that easy to play. And then Adrian Ballou came into.
Well, I was gonna say there's the Adrian Ballou connection again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I mean, I like Talking Heads a lot. As a matter of fact, David Byrne is playing in Florida, down more toward near Miami. The guy that I work with is actually going to that show. He's like, dude, if you want to go, buy a ticket. I'll drive down there. So I was toying with the idea of going with him, but I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing with Rush is not Rush, but punk never made it. Other than the what was the Clash?
Yeah.
None of those punk bands had a commercial hit in the United States.
Nope.
Later on, the Sex Pistols, the Clash, the Ramones all started selling albums, but that's cumulative. Not
in its time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Andy, you're back.
Hey guys,
no, it's all right. It's all right, man. We were riffing and talking and stuff. So
no, but I really do need to go. Something happened that it's not serious, but it's something that I need to.
Well, go take care of your family, dude.
Okay, so Al, you should be able to wrap everything up, right?
Yeah, dude.
You got the in stream up there in the corner, right?
Yeah, that's fine, man. Go take care of yourself. If you want to turn your camera and mic off, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to X out, guys. I'm so sorry about this.
Don't
Take care of your family.
No worries.
All right, brother.
All right, bye,
Take care, man. Take care, bro. All right, man.
I wonder what his number one was, though.
What's that?
What was his number one?
We never got to it. We were still doing 4, 3, and 2.
Oh, okay.
So, my 4, 3, and 2 actually is so my 4 is going to be Bastille Day. Oh,
hold on. Okay. Bytor the Snow Dog, because it's very important. Number 2, Lakeside Park, because I love that song so much. And my number 1 was a Necromancer.
Okay.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
I really like the point on Necromancer that it starts to turn to, you're kind of thinking that Lou Reed is going to start singing there towards the end with that beat.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that song. So Necromancer was my number 1.
Okay, man.
All right, guys.
Take care, brother. So we got Andy's list there.
Yeah.
Right, go ahead.
I love Lou Reed. That was cool, right?
Also, it's not it's not just that, but it's also like the Who.
Yeah.
Bob O'Reilly.
Bob O'Reilly,
the Who moment.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that. And they
At
love
the
the
end,
Who.
yeah, the last part of the Necromancer, those chords that Alex is playing.
Yeah.
When it goes into the last movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I
love the fact that the record label put that out as a single, just that Return of the Prince part, like a minute and 47. They cut that. You could find a single of that. I was like, I can't imagine a radio station playing that.
I've been trying to find the 45 to that, but that's a hard one to find, man.
Yeah.
You really
haven't
found it on Discog?
Al, you know what? Let's go Saturday. Screw it. You want to go? We'll go to the record.
Man.
All right, we'll go. It's at 8 a.m., dude.
And how do you release that as a single before friggin' Lakeside Park?
Tim, whose crazy idea was to release that as a single?
Well, I mean, when you think about it, what else other than Lakeside Park? What is there on Bastille Day?
That's commercial.
Yeah,
that's commercial.
There's no way that would get. There was no way that.
Did X and Narpets?
Yeah.
Well, they could have cut. They could have cut. Like, I mean, if they
could have cut Panacea. They could have cut Bacchus Plateau.
Yeah,
that would have made more sense than the ass end of the Necromancer.
Return of the Prince, man.
Especially if it starts out, enter the champion.
Yeah.
Prince Bytor appears. And that I like how Bytor reforms. He's a bad guy in Bytor and the Snow Dog, and now he comes back and he's the hero.
He's the good guy.
He found Jesus.
Anyway, it was his redemption arc.
All right, man. So my number 4, I'm going with the opening track of Caress. I'm going Bastille Day. And I love the opener on all the words of stage. I love that version. Will you please welcome home Rush? And they fucking rip right into that, man.
Yeah.
And it's just so much heavier on that album, Number 3, I'm going with the song that introduced Neil Peart to the world, Anthem. Another bludgeoning fucking Alex riff, man.
Yeah.
And Neil's drumming on that is incredible. And what a way to introduce the world to him, you know. My number 2, I'm going with The Necromancer. I absolutely love that song, man. That's my number 2. I mean, it could have interchanged with number 1, number 2, but I'm going to put it number 2. Yeah, I always thought like the end, Return of Prince had that Sweet Jane, you know, Lou Reed kind of feel to it, man. You know, and I wonder if they were like listening to him, or I mean, it's probably more the Who.
I'm going to say not, because I saw an interview with Geddy Lee that said
he
that
didn't
one time
like,
he walked out on a show because it was Genesis opening for Lou Reed.
Oh, that's right. That's
which
right.
is in Toronto.
What?
That's right.
Yeah, weird
Yeah,
double
Genesis
bill.
open for Lou Reed.
Well, except probably 73, 72, 73. And
I'm a huge
Oh.
Lou Reed fan, but what? I just can't.
Well,
get
that's
over
how it was back then. You had these like, you know, these crazy,
I don't think
weird...
they would have toured. I don't think it was like a bill. I think that it was just like, hey, we got an open, you know, slot here, and yeah, okay, we'll play it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget, Manny. I know that there's a great Genesis tribute band out of Canada called the Musical Box.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pays
yeah, I love
homage
them, man.
to mostly the Peter Gabriel era.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, Genesis was a band that it wasn't until Phil Collins took over on vocals where they started to really break North America.
Yeah.
So for them to get the
that's
opening
true.
slot for Lou Reed, I get it. I don't
What
get
year
it,
was
but I
that,
get it.
Sam?
It was a big
What year?
deal.
What
I'm
year
thinking
was that?
I'm thinking it was 72, 73, like around
'Cause-
that time.
Because
Because Geddy said he went to go see Genesis, and then he left, I think, during Lou Reed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, in '73, Lou Reed put out an album called Berlin, which I think is brilliant. But the whole album is a chronicle of the two couples that descended to drug addiction. There's a song called Caroline Says. The first part, Caroline
That's
says,
so
you know,
Lou Reed.
yeah, yeah. Caroline says, you know, you're not a man, blah blah. And then the second part of Caroline says, it slows to a crawl. Caroline says, "Why do you beat me? It's no fun anymore." So I can see, I love that stuff, but I can see why Geddy Lee's like, man, this is messing up my high. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harshing is mellow.
All right, man. So,
I'm
I had-
thinking that must have been during the Selling England by the Pound era.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
a
think
great
so.
fucking album, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So it's Bastille Day, Anthem, and the Necromancer. Now we're down to our number 1. So, Manny, take it away. Your number
Anthem.
1.
You know why Anthem? Because that opens up all the world's a stage. I love that song.
No,
It kicks-
Bastille Day opens it up.
well, not anymore. I just took it off. Anyway,
That's the
No.
second track, I think.
The
Yeah.
second track.
Yeah.
But
No,
what a
but
1-2!
Anthem-
What a 1-2 punch on that.
Oh, yeah.
live album.
oh yeah. And also, Yngwie did a cover of that. Do you guys realize that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard it, but I know
I
he
have the
did it.
Inspiration album that has that cover.
You know, I'm a big Yngwie fan, and I'm so inspired to not listen to that song when he plays it. So I'm not recommending it.
Actually,
Listen.
I like that covers album.
He does.
I,
It's a great album, and he does a killer sales of Sharon on it. So I recommend.
Oh,
it.
I
yeah.
agree, but the Rush, no. Anyway,
You'd be surprised, Manny. I like it.
I'm shocked you like it because you're a bigger Rush fan than I am. So I'm really surprised.
All right, Tim.
Wow,
man, you're
I
number
love
1,
Yngwie
brother.
too.
Well,
I do
it's
too.
surprise. For some reason, I thought everybody was going to say Anthem. I don't know why, but it's just such a it's a punch. Like right away, you know, you're not dealing with the same band that was on that first album, as great as it was.
Yeah.
Everything is faster and heavier, and there's just more drum licks per square inch.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
even by the time, you know, way before the vocal even comes in, but the whole song just rocks so hard. And I remember being very pleasantly surprised. Like I said, I grew up, you know, in Canada watching Much Music, and they were very, very good as far as playing Rush videos. But I had no idea that they shot those 2 videos for Anthem and Fly By Night. I would have flipped if I could have seen those when I was a kid. I was still pretty excited when the Anthem showed up on the Russian Rio DVD. You had to do a little funny thing with the remote to do it. But am I frozen?
No.
No.
it's fine.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay. But yeah, I love that those old videos of them playing wherever they filmed those. It's just, it's just so raw, and I love Alex solo, and I don't know what else to say. I mean, it was just the perfect way to announce, in many ways, this was a brand new band. You know, they got the new guy, and and he proved his mettle on that. So
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you're still the new guy until the end.
yeah, they so yeah, guys, I gotta go,
Yeah.
but this has been fantastic.
It was really
It
nice
was
meeting you.
nice
Tim.
meeting you,
Nice
Lou,
meeting you.
Manny, and yeah, hopefully we can do this again. We'll see y'all later. Go.
All right, Tim. I'll keep in
All
touch,
right.
brother.
All right.
Later. All right, Lou, man, you're number one, brother.
Yes, it's the time you admit I'm number one. Oh, you made my number one choice. Okay. I gotta go Necromancer.
Wow.
I remember when I first heard the song, I was like, okay, like I was psyching myself up. You know, when I heard the Crest of Steel album, I was like, okay, so this is the song that, like, you know, apparently they're talking about Lord of the Rings, supposedly, but somehow Baitor comes in the end. I didn't realize Baitor was Aragorn, so not that he is really, but you know, just the mood of the song, how it slowly creeps in, and then all of a sudden you hear Neil with the drum roll into the riff, ba-da, ba-da, just taken aback by that. And then that entire passage leading into, the part where they speed everything up, and hearing Neil do like this crazy Buddy Rich style stuff. And if you ever watch Neil play, especially like, from beginning to end, you would think, my God, he plays so stiff, but he's so on time. But then you listen to it, and it's like, it's so fluid, his drumming,
Yeah.
whatever he does. And, I was blown away by the composition of this song. And as a young kid who was fascinated and just crazy obsessed with the guitar, realizing that a song could be formulaic and it could be good, but Rush with a song like this made me feel like a song could be whatever you want it to be if you're telling a story. And this song tells a story, and it's a great story where all the parts mean something, and it's cohesive. And unlike Van Halen 3, which let's not repeat that. Just Necromancer was of the 13 songs, is definitely my favorite. I still love it to this day. I was so happy when I got to see Dream Theater play the song live at Jones Beach,
crazy.
and I freaked out. I'm like, wait, this isn't. I remember telling my friend Jerry, I was like, dude, they're playing a Rush song. He's like, what album? I'm like, this is Necromancer off Crest of Steel, and we're freaking out because we were both huge Rush fans. So that was a real treat. And yes, they even broke into Bob O'Reilly at the end, which was cool. But who cares? It's.
I have the bootleg DVD of that show, man.
Nice. Yeah, it was 10 of the best minutes I ever heard on record.
Yeah. Cool. My number one's gonna be Baitor, man. Now I said before, like I can interchange Necromancer with Baitor, but I'm gonna go Baitor because really, and especially the All the World's a Stage version, man. I always considered that like their kind of Dazed and Confused way, because I always thought Alex was playing a bow because he was doing the volume swells. But when I was younger and I was inexperienced at guitar, I always thought like, man, is Alex like playing a bow here? Because it sounded like it. He was making it sound like bow, and they really extended that song out. I mean, that song was a lot longer even on the live album than the studio version.
I wonder, was he using a delay pedal or was he using like an Echoplex? I think he was using something like that to get those.
He was using a volume pedal with like a delay or Echoplex or something like that. So he was doing the volume swells, almost making it sound like it was a bow. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, I love that. I love that the version on All the World's a Stage. It's just it's killer, man.
it's funny because he's such a Page fanboy, you know. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that was probably his biggest
That's
influence.
probably why I was like thinking, like, is Alex using the bow on here? You
Yeah.
know, but
But-
but it turns out, you know, later on I read, you know, what his equipment was, and yeah, I figured it out. It was volume swells with like delay and stuff like that. So
I think for
Yeah.
me, I think for me as a
Well,
guitar
gentlemen,
player,
my phone's
it's
about my phone.
okay, man.
take care, man.
Looks
Oh,
like
it's
it's just
dead.
us too. Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, like I mean, I definitely respect Jimmy Page. I love Zeppelin, but I think where I respect Jimmy Page as opposed to Alex is I I I respect Jimmy Page more as a songwriter than as a lead guitar player because even you know for me, Alex was just a little more important for me than Jimmy because you know he sort of like brought like the Page type aesthetics, but with that also came like this like flashy lightning fast like fluid playing style that I found really inspiring. So it was like, you know, Page on speed almost.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made me um really inspired by Alex, you know. And his playing on these two albums, it's like, you know, if you can't find that kind of inspiration on any of the other records, you'll find them here,
Yeah.
you know. A definitely like a caged animal breaking out.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So yeah, dude, all the other my co-host Andy had to go, and Tim, Len, Manny went, so it's just me and you. But anyway, I want to thank you for coming on, brother.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much.
And
And
good luck on your job interview. And
I didn't want to talk about that.
that's all right,
Thank
man.
you. Oh yeah,
Um,
hopefully Malloy University hires me. That would be great. And again, the new Severed Angel album, When Eternity Ends, is available now. Stream it everywhere. You can purchase us, buy us a coffee over at our Bandcamp, severedangel.bandcamp.com. The website's still running, severedangel.com. New album coming out next year, and looking forward to it.
Cool. Next week on Black Spinner Circle, we're gonna have Andy and I are gonna be interviewing from the members of the band Dig. They were an alternative band of the '90s.
Believe, I love that song.
Yeah, Believe, man. They had to hit Believe on MTV. They have a new album out called I, a small I. It's kind of like, you know, when you put in front of the iPhone, it's an I in parentheses or whatever. So that's the name of their new album. It's really good. Go check it out by the band Dig. Their original, the two founding guitar players, Johnny Cornwell and John Morris, they're going to be on promoting the album. We're going to shoot the shit with them. So tune in next week on Tuesday, actually at 8 p.m.
I'll
for
definitely
that.
check that out.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next week. Thanks again, Lou.
Thanks again for having me, and listen to more Rush, people.
Take care. Have a good night. Cheers.